Hello, good people. Welcome to Mondays with Mo. I am Mo James, founder of Confidence Coaching for Her, and Mondays with Mo is my weekly check-in, pop-in, hey, saying hey type thing, just chatting with you about what's going on in your life, about stuff that's happening in our brand. Everything that we do here is designed to help women like you activate your courage, discover yourself, and design a life that looks like a masterpiece, whatever that looks like for you. And it's another Monday, and I'm back with another Mondays with Mo. At the time, you might be watching this live or the replay on YouTube, but you can also find us across all the other social channels, confidencecoachingforher.com. We're on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We are on some other places. But what I want to talk to you about today is get you caught up on what's happening on our podcast, Confident Women Glow, and tell you how what we're doing right now connects to what's happening right now and something else. So if you're not already a subscriber for our podcast, Confident Women Glow, you should subscribe right now. I am in a series inspired by the book, The Art of War for Women. And I know you might be thinking, well, Mo, that's a bit much. Well, first of all, if you don't know, I am an Army veteran. Today is Memorial Day, and it is a really heavy time for service members, people who have lost people in service, for families who are remembering and honoring the people that they love who served. And so this conversation kind of has a deeper meaning for me because of what we're going to talk about. So in the book, The Art of War for Women, which is inspired by, I actually have the other book here, inspired by Sun Tzu, The Art of War, I had the thought to pull some lessons from this book in particular because we're at war. I know that feels like hyperbole. That feels like you doing the most right now. But if we're honest, yeah, there are some open enemies of freedoms and rights and liberties and life and the pursuits of happiness. There are some open enemies right now, and that's war. And so I wanted to pull some takeaways from the book to inspire some lessons, to inspire some conversations for us on the podcast. So we started the series last week. Last week's episode was Know Thyself, that talks about, again, the importance of self-discovery and figuring out who you are. And that relates to what we talk about here in the brand, because you can't be confident if you don't know yourself. And getting to know yourself requires unlearning the BS that you've been taught about what a woman is supposed to be, or how you are supposed to look, or what you are supposed to wear, or how you are supposed to behave. Like, all of these supposed tos are hindrances. They trip you up as you are discovering yourself, figuring you out. So that's why it was important to start with that lesson in particular. The second episode in the series came out yesterday, and that was See What No One Has Seen, I think. I think that's the exact wording. But anyway, it talked about using your imagination and your creativity, particularly in moments where things feel heavy, kind of like right now, where things feel burdensome and hard, and it feels like you are struggling. Pay attention to lessons and takeaways from those moments too, because they can support you. There is wisdom in those moments as well, if you choose to look for them and to listen for them. And so that's the second lesson. And then the next lesson coming up in next week's podcast episode is going to be about fireproofing yourself. And that one right there is going to be good. They've all been good. The fireproofing yourself is going to be really good. And so this conversation from this book, which is heavy on strategy, right? I think this book is like big picture strategic lessons. But before you can get to the big picture lessons from this book, I feel like you got to know yourself and have gone through maybe a season of asking yourself some questions and really figuring out who you are, of building a habit of knowing you so you can trust you, or of recognizing when your inner wisdom is speaking, and know when it's fear talking to, so you can choose not to listen to fear, or to ground yourself in your values and the things that matter to you and your personal truths. And then, or practice just figuring out how to reclaim your time, reclaim your emotional, your mental power on an everyday basis. And so before, it made sense to me that before we get to this, or maybe as you're walking through this, through what this book teaches you, you might need what this book teaches you. This is my journal, a journal that I created, the Inner Strength Journal. It is a guided journal with prompts and questions asking, like, what does authenticity mean to you? What makes you feel most alive and true to yourself? These types of questions, if you are new to journaling, or even if you're not, but you want to go on a journey of uncovering your inner strength, because and knowing that that strength is fueled by understanding yourself and really knowing who you are at your core. That's what this book is for. So for me, I see a direct connection between the two, because the outer work, the outer effort that is required right now, the decisions, the conversations, the pros and cons that we have to weigh, all the things that we are having to do right now, which we can use this as a guide, are shaped by the inner work that we have to do. Because if we don't know who we are, we can't really make decisions that aren't rooted in fear. And I'm not even saying that fear, like, not like to expect that you won't feel fear. You will. The key is not to allow fear to keep you from taking the action that you know you need to take. That's what the Inner Strength Journal helps you get to, a foundation. I keep wanting to use the word grounding. It is an anchoring of you and what matters to you, what's important, who you are, what's your truth, all of those things that are important, but we don't talk about. We see people do courageous things, and we see people make decisions that sometimes we don't understand, because we're judging it from the outside. But when you are in a season like we are right now of erasure and antagonism and resistance and opposition and sabotage and violence and all of these things, you can't fight those things when you are untethered. And the Inner Strength Journal, I believe I created it to help you find your tether, so that when you out here knucking and bucking and pushing back and preparing and protecting, you're doing that from a place that is unmovable. That's why the work is important, because life is going to show up and drag us. And I don't want us to be out here caught by surprise, unprotected, vulnerable to predatory behavior. We have to know ourselves. We have to be willing to invest the effort in knowing ourselves, understanding that, and this ties right into the next episode in the series, understanding that it doesn't matter how good of a person you are, or how kind or nice or accommodating, none of that stuff matters. There will be people in this world who are plotting on taking advantage of you so they can gain something. That's just the truth. I know we don't like to think that that's the world we live in, but baby, listen, that's the world we live in. And if you've never believed that before now, watch the news for 10 minutes and come talk to me after. I created the Inner Strength Journal to prepare you. This is like your training, your basic training, taking it back to the Army changed me in ways that I could have never expected. And if you have been around this brand for longer than 5 minutes, you have heard me talk about and reference experiences from my military, from my time in the Army. And this book is your basic training. That's going to get you ready for the fight. And then this book and the conversations that we're having from this book on the podcast, that prepares you for the specific battles that you will have to fight. And these conversations are important. They are. And so are the conversations about rest and self-care and boundaries and courage and all of the things, all of the other things that we talk about in this brand. They're all important. We need them all. It's like tools in a toolbox. We need all of the tools so that the life that we envision, the life that we want so desperately, desire so deeply for ourselves, we can have it. But it will require us to transform so that we can step into that thing, recognize that that's the thing that we said we wanted, and we will appreciate it and honor it and secure it, protect it, all of those things. So I believe that without the foundation, that knowing yourself, understanding what authenticity means to you, identifying your core values, telling the truth to yourself about times when you weren't courageous, when you could have been, not judging yourself, but just being honest and learning from those things. Without that foundation, we will be out here constantly reacting and falling down the rabbit holes of distraction and all these other things that some of those people who are plotting to consume us have on their agenda. And I just don't want that for us. I just don't. I just imagine a world. If the world can be what I imagine, then I at least imagine that we are prepared for whatever the world is, not what we wish it to be, what it is. So if you are not tuned in to Confident Women Glow, the podcast, I encourage you to find us. You can listen to episodes right here on YouTube. We are in all your major podcast players. Confident Women Glow. Catch up on the series. We're in lesson 2 of the series. I have one, Fireproofing Yourself is the next one, and then I'm toying with another one that I might pull from the book. And you definitely find us and subscribe, and let me know what you think as you listen to the episodes. And then, if you don't already have your copy of the Inner Strength Journal, okay, I need to tell you this real quick. So this is the printed paperback version of the journal, but the journal is also an ebook. So if you are, like me, you have both, or you all about trying to conserve the planet, protect the planet, you can get the ebook version of the journal, like I have right here on my iPad. And you can still do your journal. You can still get your pen and still go through the 60 some odd prompts, questions, exercises that are in the journal, all designed to help you discover, because it's there. Your strength is there. You've just had some experiences. You've had some people tell you some things. People, seeds of limitation and low self-belief have been planted in you. You've never had the opportunity to discover it. And that's what the journal helps you do. That becomes your foundation. So you can lead your life with intentional strategy that supports your confidence. That's what I wanted to share. I hope you take this conversation and allow it to be food for you for the week going forward. If you're not already connected, I invite you to connect with us. These are the kind of conversations that we have here. It's not always heavy. Sometimes it is, because sometimes that's what's necessary. And that's just true. That's just true. All right. So let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think. Connect with us. We here. We've been here. But I have been doing my own thing. I've been walking the talk. And you can get caught up on the podcast, and there's some episodes that tell you all about what's been going on, the extended break I took, all of that stuff. This is real life. And we are talking about real life over here, all designed to equip you, one, so you can know that you are not the only one going through these things, and also so you can learn and get the tools that will help you going forward. That's why I do this. That's why I show up here. That's why I do this podcast. That's why I create products like the Inner Strength Journal. That's why this work matters. And so I hope you will honor yourself. Honor yourself with the support and the resources that you know you need to help you become that woman who protects herself, honors herself, loves herself deeply, and fully embodies what it is to be a confident woman. So thank you for tuning in. I hope I'll see you. You'll hear me on the podcast or out here on these social media streets. Thanks for tuning in.